Good evening, everyone. It's Jazz. It's the West Ham Minds channel. It's a live fan show, so it'll be interaction with you guys in the chat, answering your questions, see what your mood is. It's been more than a couple of hours since that defeat at Nottingham Forest, and we're all thinking the same. It's another week gone. It's another match wasted, another day wasted, and even more for you guys who went all that way and watched absolutely nothing. It's not even these days about the performance results, whatever. It's about, did you see any shots on goal? That seems to be the highlight. So all you guys out there who've got away season tickets, you spend all that money, you get up early, you gather your friends, or you go to the train station for all of that. So all of your Saturdays wiped out. So you end up with having sort of 1 week off in the week. You don't deserve it, do you? And yeah, we're all kind of growing a little bit grey, and well, I've got a lot of hair to lose, so I'm all right that way. And it's all about age. Depends on the age of the West Ham fans as well. A lot of the fans who are sort of my parents' ages, they're pretty chilled out, aren't they? They're like, oh, we've seen it worse, doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. And then you've got people a little bit, me in the middle, who just about remember the John Lyall times. They never, I mean, apart from last season, I mean, I didn't see, way too young to remember 1980. Was I 1 year old in 75 and 81? I don't remember any of that. 86, I was 12. Didn't win anything, but I do remember that season. But after that, it's not been much happening there. So then you got the youngsters who, yeah, they're a little bit starved of strikers, because over there you got McAvenny, Cottee, and when you're young, that's your strikers, isn't it, right? And if you were 12 today, I mean, obviously Declan Rice was popular, he's gone now. Some of the youngsters have been latching onto sort of Bowen, Paqueta, Kudos. So yeah, but you want a striker. You want a striker, someone who can lead the line really well. Then there's plenty of them around the world. There's even more of them in the Premier League. You've seen Tony, you've seen Slanky, you've seen Nunes, you've seen Salah, you've seen Calvin-Lewin at Everton. Yeah, I mean, there's a good goal in today's game by one of the Forest guys, although he's not very, very well known. There's plenty of them around. There's plenty around in the Championship. And it's just frustrating. Football was created to score a goal because that means you win a game. And I don't know how these managers... I mean, when did we begin to see these managers? I remember 1988 was that famous Wimbledon team. And that astounded everyone. So this was the first time a team were really physical and they were playing something called a long ball, which no one had ever seen before. Up till that point, I could be wrong. Okay, some teams are always more physical than others, but the main way of playing football was always the same: 4-4-2, two strikers up front, a tall striker, a small striker. In the middle of the midfield, one would be a solid CDM like Billy Bonds, whose job was there just to tackle and just move the ball on. And then the other guy would normally be able to do both, put the tackles in and also spray the ball left, right, forward. And then you have two wingers go down the byline, cross the ball in, very good at keeping the ball, a lot of skill, and they would play very closely with the fullbacks. And so the fullbacks would overlap regularly, and two centre-backs, good combination there. And that was football across the whole country. Wimbledon came in 1988, yeah, long ball, sort of all from set pieces. Still played with two strikers, but very, very physical, in your face, and just not very good to watch for a lot of fans. But it was different. It was kind of, yeah, long balls, long crosses into the box, and then the headers, and then that kind of thing, really. And now you've got kind of one up front more often than not, and then David Moyes has found a way of playing with no strikers, really, of sticking wingers up front. And okay, when he did it with Arnie before, that was great bit of coaching, because we didn't have a striker perhaps he liked in the squad, and in the short term he managed to do it. But what he did, he started to begin believe in his hype. It happened once, he thought, I'm going to keep doing it. Antonio helped out for a year, 2 years, and I think deep down Antonio doesn't want to do it. Bowen doesn't want to do it. Kudus is scratching his head thinking, where the hell have I come here? And this goes on and on and on. And now I'm pretty certain this is the end for David Moyes now, right? And I said in December, he had a job for 2, 3, 4 years. He could have moved upstairs, helped the club bringing the next young manager in, and he's fucked it all up by being stubborn, being stuck up, not understanding our view, not understanding the football club, not understanding the DNA. It's been pure head in the clouds, and his interview press conference yesterday and even today is just full of shit, reminding us fans of what he's done for us, and now saying in today's after the game press conference, saying that I've heard that fans want a manager who possibly plays better football than me. He said, well, that could be the case, but they're not going to win more games than me. So it's a straight civil war between David Moyes and the fans. And when that happens, you know what happened with Sam Allardyce. The fans will always win. The fans will always remain here. The players will not, so you can't mess about with the fans long term. And it's surely got to be done anytime soon now. One thing is pretty concrete. Some websites are saying they're still not going to sack him, but they're not going to give him that contract extension. That's a few websites. I think he's going to go. I think he's definitely going to go. I don't think there's anything in this squad. There's nothing in the bench to change this. Sometimes you're thinking you're waiting for someone to come back from injury. Paqueta definitely, but I don't know how many weeks away he is, and I think he's gone too much down the line now. I think when you look at the run and form, there's been no wins in 2024, and it's just, and a lot of those teams, with respect, we should have got something against, and we haven't. Bournemouth should have got beaten us. Forest have, and that's just the way it goes, right? And there's no way we can look at those fixtures and say, oh, that's going to be easy. We'll get 3 points there, we'll get 1 point there. It's the application, it's the way he's doing the team, the way he's setting it up. And like I said, because he was even more stuck up in the window saying, I don't need anything, and got rid of 4 players that could have been some use, right? Even though they weren't doing great, but better than having those 4 than not, right? And you saw that today at the bench with 60, 70 minutes with the clock going on. Did you think, what are we going to do? I mean, Cornet, he ain't going to change anything. Danny Ings, he came on really, he ain't going to do anything. When he was in form, you didn't play Danny Ings, if you remember. You began to show something, and you haven't played him last 4, 5, 6 games, whatever. Absolute mishmash of things, Mbeumo's just there. I don't know. He's just sitting around doing nothing. And Antonio, I mean, he left off where his poor form was before the injury. He's been very, very average. And today, I know it's his first game back from injury, but like I said in the earlier show, there's no chemistry between him and Kudus. Bowen's been completely flat, completely out of form since 2024 again. But listen, this happens in football. But that's the idea of the squad, that when a player is finding it difficult, he's going through an average run of form, you take him away, don't you? You protect him. But no, like Souček a couple of years ago, and many, many players before that, what does David Moyes do? He just keeps playing tired, out of form players every single game, just grinding them into the floor. And I was just surprised how these players just keep doing it. As a footballer, I would just go on strides. And I didn't sign West Ham for this kind of thing, I came here to sort of play good football, improve myself in training, my technical skills, and enjoy my football. You're not enjoying your football there. Fans are not enjoying it. The players are not enjoying it. Look at their faces. It's a fucking joke. And in amongst them, you got players who are playing every game, but you can tell they're not good enough. You got Agurden there, Zuma struggling, right? Kufal had a terrible game today. Areola somewhat, especially in the first half, got back some of his respect because of the Arsenal game. He struggled a lot. Bowen, like I said, was invisible. Antonio didn't do anything. For me, a striker is about scoring a goal, helping assist a goal, helping bring the wingers into the game, hold it up. He didn't do anything. He had that kind of good chance, and I knew he weren't going to finish anyway. When Antonio's got time to think, that's dangerous for him. He's going to fuck it up, yeah. And that's kind of what happened. Calvin Phillips came in for Souček. I didn't expect to see Calvin Phillips again for West Ham, to be fair. And he had a horrid game. I mean, he's all right in the first half, but it's just not happening for him. He's still catching up with fitness and things like that. First yellow card was very, very silly. Second yellow, for me, I think it's still a bit harsh. But listen, that was the time of the game where Forest were 1-0 up and they were doing every trick. And they've got every right to play a trick of slowing it down, winding us up. They had a plan, which we never looked like having a plan. At least their managers have a plan. They had a plan to wind and rough up Antonio. Zuma had a very physical tussle with 1 or 2 forwards he was marking. So you can see the other team had a plan and we fell for it. And then it's just about playing players in the wrong positions. Ward-Prowse should have only been brought in to become one of the two CDMs like he was playing at Southampton. You can't play him in the Paqueta position today. I think it was more like a 4-3-3 with kind of Ward-Prowse trying to be that number 10. I don't think that kind of worked. And it's a lot of issues like that. You know, Danny Ings, you would only buy Danny Ings if you're going to play two up front. Mistake after mistake after mistake. And it's just, it is never one thing, like you said. There's a lot of things. It's all caught up with him. I don't think the coaching team looked great. You know, sometimes if you have a strong number two, you still think, oh, he could perhaps be strong enough to kind of give Moyes a different opinion that he listened to. He doesn't. His coaches don't hang around more than the season, like, you know. He don't listen to anyone. And there's no way nothing's going to change now. The board just have to cut. The only delay at the moment, the usual thing with them, like I keep saying over and over again, they're not proactive. They don't know who the next manager's going to be. They haven't done the homework. They haven't done the due diligence. They probably have not even seriously been searching for anyone when they should have kind of every good club should know. Even if you've got a manager you think you're not going to sack, things change quickly in football. You must always have around the world a list ready to go. Brighton got it. Brentford have got it. Spurs have got it. You've got to do it. You've got to be proactive, and they don't, and they're still being hesitant. And the same thing happened last season. And I know he won the Europa Conference Trophy, but that kind of thing ain't going to happen to rescue David Moyes' position every season. But the biggest thing is the board. They ignore the fans. They ignore the fans. And a couple of surveys have been done, and I think it's been 60-40 Moyes out. I get that, but I'm also kind of understand that most fans don't enter these polls. They don't watch YouTube channels. I get that as well, but he must be listening to a lot of things out there, and I think more fans than not are kind of had enough now. Even the ones that were quite loyal and they were fairly sensible in their view. I get it. I think they're beginning to just had enough, because all we want to do at this club is play the right way, give it a go, isn't it? In simple English terms, give it a go for the fans. That you're trying to put shots at goal, you're trying to cross it in, you're trying to do these tricks and flicks, entertain the fans. That's all we want. We're not saying we're going to win every single game, but it's just the team look very tired. They look lackluster. They've lost. They've got no ideas. And how do you lift a club like that? How do you lift a team like that? Use a transfer window. Freshen it up. Bring 2-3 players in. Give the others a bit of a rest. It's a long winter. That's how you freshen it up. That's why the best teams always win the things. Because they've got a squad that they rotate and use. Moyes doesn't use a squad. He doesn't use the bench. He plays out of form players over and over again. He plays players in the wrong positions over and over again. He doesn't buy any players in any window. How long can this carry on? It cannot, ladies and gentlemen. And I think it's the end. It's got to be the end. I've got to be confident and think he's going to go this season before the end, please, or even quicker, or even tonight, or even tomorrow, even after the next game. Maybe there's another game left. He's got to go. I cannot see this team picking up adequately to keep Moyes in this job this season, really. So I'm going to go straight into the chats and have a sip of my whiskey. I'm going to put some comments up there that were from the earlier show that I didn't read out. So that was Mr. Carter. Moyes out. Thank you, sir. Soham Banerjee, how are you doing? That is exactly, Soham, that's exactly what it is. It's about the intent. We're not saying that we're going to win a game, win every single game. Let me sort my camera out a minute. There we go. We're not saying we're going to win every single game. Nothing. It's about the intent, the setup, playing football in the right way, having a go, being brave. Ain't going to come off sometimes, but you get applauded off the pitch. You remember the 9-men Tottenham performance against Chelsea. Wow, they nearly won the game and they got applauded, standing ovation off the pitch. That's what it's about, and that's what it's. No desire, no idea. Same every single game. Copy and paste, mate. Yeah, it took a time, didn't it, Gavin? I was very surprised. I mean, it's not totally gone. They were still running around in the first half. And David Moyes' comments were kind of, up until 1-0 or even 1-0 is fairly close, wasn't it? I mean, is that something you would boast about, that you're playing Nottingham Forest with respect, away from home, with all the money we've spent, won a European trophy, and you're showing off and blagging that it was pretty close between you and Forest? I mean, usually after half-time, Mr. Moyes, games are usually close. What counts as a result at the end of the game, and Forest won 2-0 and it could have been 3, 4, 5, 6. That is the whole reality of the situation, and you fucking got your head in the clouds, mate. You're beginning to disrespect the fans. You're beginning to show what a big head you are, how ego. You got to come down a notch, mate. You got to come down a notch and respect the fans. Yeah, John, I have, mate. That's why I'm following all the press conferences now on the channel. So I'm very keen to listen to his comments before the game and after the game. And it's all coming down a theme where he's lost his head now. He's a lost man. I saw the interview. You can see when he's just making garbage up and not being genuine or anything like that. And he's getting more and more silly in his comments. And he's detaching himself more and more away from the fans. You can see that, you know. He's not apologetic about not buying anyone. He's always hard, and we tried, it didn't happen. Fuck off, let's move on. He don't give a shit. And this is a manager from 9-10 transfer windows, been in charge of a club for about 4 years around, which is a long time in the modern game. He's probably already one of the longest serving in the Premier League, you know. And you've seen other managers with 1 or 2 windows like Spurs completely change everything, you know. And it's just not done enough, in my opinion, in the league. Absolutely right, Mark. But they are good to watch, aren't they? I never used to listen to them a lot, but I think it's very interesting, mate. Martin, cheers, mate. There's a lot of problems, Martin. Like I said, there's players out of form, like Bowen. There's players who are amazing, but their heads are going down, like Kudos. Feel very sorry for him. Usually a player like that would have some kind of understanding with his fellow wingers, midfield, up front. There's nothing happening there, because when he looks up, it's full of fullbacks, full of defenders, full of CDMs. There's a 33-year-old winger playing up front. Would that excite you? Because Kudos is on another level. He's far quicker than that. And if you played in a really, really proper team, dare I say, at Arsenal, you'd see even more from Kudos. Because everyone would be young, fresh. We got one of the oldest teams in the league, and you could see that. It's just full of 28-year-old CDMs running around, and even Ward-Prowse. I mean, he's a very respectable, professional, likable chap, but I think he's not being played in the right way either. And to protect him, looking back, I know kind of hindsight is easy. It looks like we didn't really need him either. If we really are being critical about the 32 million gone on him, I always did say that when Rice goes and we get about 100 million for him, we only need to spend about 20 million on 1 or 2 CD, and that's enough cover for Rice. I think Alvarez has been very, very good, and he again was okay today. But whether we needed Phillips in there as well now, and then 31 million more Prowse, I'm not too sure. I would focus that money on a number 10 alongside Paqueta and a striker, but then now we know that all the windows we didn't do quite enough, and all good few signings that didn't work out got written off. We got a lot of work in the back to do now. So for the new manager, and it shouldn't be that case, should it, everyone? You know, when a manager's been in charge for 9-10 transfer windows, a reasonable amount of money given. You've seen all the list of the big spenders. West Ham's in the top 10 comfortably, and salary and wages and all that. A lot of money's been wasted, and there's a lot of work needed in the squad. And this carries on, then you're in danger of, well, if these players didn't need any encouragement to go anyway. I mean, you look at Paqueta, Kudos, Bowen. I mean, they're gonna be wanting to move on, aren't they? If this carries on, it's another season wasted. You know, it's a very short career in football, and you can't just keep writing second league season off in a row. Absolutely, Cisco Systems. How you doing, matey? How you doing, Pam? It carries on, Pam. It carries on. Even Pam's one of our kind of regular viewers. Very patient is Pam, but Pam, even your patience must be wearing off. You know, it's very difficult to carry on with this, isn't it? The entertainment. Again, Pam, we're used to results, aren't we, at West Ham like this? But it's more about the application, the kind of performances, and how they're kind of playing football, and then also what's the future? I mean, you will only keep a manager if you could see something improving, something around the corner. Are we like Newcastle? Have we lost 7 players injured? No, we haven't. We kind of got what we got, and that's all we've got. That's it, mate. T, keep him here, mate. I got a message from my Liverpool fan friend saying, if you lose David Moyes, you're going to be in the bottom without Moyes. And I didn't even respond. I'm not getting into that. I suppose all you guys must be getting that. So all your friends and family who support Liverpool, Man United, or Arsenal, dare I say, they're probably telling you that, oh, without David Moyes, you'd be in the bottom. And I said that yesterday. I'd rather lose a few games as long as we play much better than that. I can't take this anymore, and I'd rather lose a few, rather see better football. And if we lost 3-2 now and again, playing amazing football, so be it. So be it, mate. The problem is the owner of the club is pretty old. Not sure how much he follows social media. Not sure what his assistants are like. I mean, most of the board is made out of family members, isn't it? David Gold's daughters and husbands and their children, and then Sullivan's got his children in there. Then they've got one or two investors that they work with all their life. It's all their buddies, so they're never going to go against David Sullivan in a vote. It's not a very healthy board. Krotensky's external, that's a bit of a difference, but the board isn't diversified. So if there's a major decision to be made in the board, they kind of going to go along with whatever Sullivan's thinking. I've heard that Brady's the one that's on David Moyes' side, but like all the other people have been saying, Brady's job isn't to be involved on the playing side, it's to bring income and revenue into the club, and I don't think she's doing that much of a good job anyway. You know, we got a shit shirt sponsorship deal with Umbro, which I'm fucking sick of. I fucking want Adidas back, but that's for a separate show. We haven't got no ground sponsor. We got shirt sponsors who no longer will be able to sponsor the shirts because I think betting companies can't do it anymore. We're around the corner from Canary Wharf, but there's none of the banks are interested in spending their money. They'd rather go to Spurs or Chelsea. So JP Morgan, Citibank, I mean, I work with all those guys in my daytime work, and they don't want to go. They're not interested. The ground facilities in terms of all the boxes, the food is way before anything else you get. Way before. Our revenue is falling way before every other London club. Like I said, Tottenham have gone as the number one revenue generator London club at the moment. We are way behind, and that's going to become difficult in financial fair play more and more, because financial fair play is going to get more and more tighter, everyone. The new rules, which are making it even more difficult, are going to kick in the summer, and then you've got to raise your revenue. And we don't own our own ground. We don't have 100% of the match day income. It's going to hit us badly, and it's got a couple of things going to have to be looked at and worked out a way how to do it, and I don't know what's going to happen. If you look on YouTube, it's very brief. So you've got the oh, bloody hell, I've forgotten who we played today. So you got the Forest manager speaking to about 2 minutes, and then you've got Mr. Muppet Moisey for about 2 minutes, and you just got to look at, sometimes words are not needed and you can read through a face. If you look at David Moyes' last couple of games, especially Arsenal, and he's a broken man. The swagger's gone. He's just full of bullshit. That's it now. And he's just not being honest to himself, right? And the reports, to be fair, are pressing his buttons more and more, saying, you know, why didn't you have more shots at goal? Why didn't you try to attack a bit more? And he's just covering it all up. You know, he's just saying, no, I think it was quite a close game up to 1-0 and it just didn't go for us, you know, and all this kind of garbage. And what is he going to say the next game? What is he going to say the game after that? He's just completely going to run out. And then you can always read through people's lies and cover-ups and being politically correct. It's not going to sit well with anyone. The fans can read him a mile away. They'd rather he was just honest. And I know he won't do it, but there was another report I read yesterday saying, wouldn't it be great if these days a man could be that good that he would go up to the board and say that I've had a great time here, I've won a trophy that I think I wasn't going to. I didn't think that I was going to get a job like this towards the end of my career with a great club like this. I've loved it, but I think it's only fair that I go now while still got a bit of respect left, that you pay my wages. I don't think anything's worked out. I fucked up the last transfer windows. And wouldn't that be great? And then the board can't say no, and he's fucked off. But no, there's none of that these days. Players don't ask for transfers anymore because you lose the signing on fee, but they cause trouble through there. There's no morals anymore. That was the word I was looking for. Wouldn't that be great in the modern game? Morals, saying, because he doesn't need any money like some of us do. We understand if we didn't do it in our day-to-day jobs, but if you just shook hands, had a really nice statement to say to the fans, and that would be, and we'd say, wow, what a man. But nah, he's going to stay there talking rubbish week after week, playing rubbish football game after game, and that doesn't do anyone any favours, especially the owners. Because if it hasn't already, I think the arrows are lining up at Sullivan if they haven't already, and I know he doesn't like that. So I mean, his kids surely know what's going on. They've got to be online watching what we're saying, reading what we're saying, and it's got to be out there, isn't it? But I just thought that would be wonderful in this day and age if someone would do that, but they're not going to do it, are they? Absolutely right. Yep, it could have been 3, 4, 5. Absolutely right. Definitely. Oh, mate. Oh, God. I hope there's no love affair that comes out the news after Moyes leaves with Antonio staying around there now and again. Oh, he loves him, doesn't he? He calls him Mickey, doesn't he? Mickey. Yeah, I mean, John, they literally played 4-4-2, if I can remember. You might know better than me. Literally the same formations, but yeah, sometimes you had more physical players than the other, but generally it was the same kind of football, wasn't it? But the football that David Moyes is promoting is, oh my God. It's false, isn't it, John? And he's kind of underestimating the fans' ability to have a brain. He thinks we haven't got a brain, and I mean, we saw the game, didn't we? It's absolutely nuts. Oh, mate, that's all we need is him forgetting what his name is and then falling around and tumbling over. And maybe he doesn't remember what goes on in the game and he thinks we've had a good game. It could be setting in, mate. It could be setting in. Yeah, I think so. Again, Martin just looks like every window. And I kept telling everyone I'm not a fan of the transfer window system. I think it's very restrictive. I think it gives rise to clubs blackmailing each other because the clock's ticking. You're overpaying for players, especially if in Europe. Then when it doesn't work out for those players, you try to sell them back to the club. They don't want to give you any money for it because they know you're desperate. I don't like this system. I think it should be open till it used to be till March. Very restrictive. Agents are making far too much money out of it. And like I said, it's a lot of blackmail. And a lot of average players have only had one season are going for a lot of money. Vlasic, 27 million, really? Agerd, 33 million, really? And the list goes on and on and on, you know? I mean, 30, 40 million is a lot of money, but it looks like these foreign clubs, they get these players for like next to nothing, play them in a relatively weak league for a year and a half, and then their stats look good, and then they want 40, 50 million from us. And then we find out they're not that good, and when we try to send them back to them, they're like, "Oh, we've only got 2 million." Like, and you know, it's a total joke, total joke. Spitting Image, that was a great show from the 80s. That used to be on Sunday midnight. Lots of puppets. Was it imitating the royal family? I remember, and a few others, politicians especially. Exactly. Yeah. Up to the 70th minute. I think he got embarrassed when he said it. He tried to use it as an excuse, but then he remembered and tried to retract backwards. Like 70, we were done by then, mate. We were done. Pam, do you remember the Muppet shows? One of the big shows in the 70s and 80s. It used to be on the BBC One, I think. Then they Kermit and Miss Piggy. Who should we make Miss Piggy then, Pam? We've got to think of someone. Is it Karen Brady? I don't know. It might be too cruel now I think about it. Paul, that's honesty, and that's what I said earlier on. I said I'd rather lose the next 2-3 for him to go, and because that's the only way the board's going to listen. The board's only going to listen for 3 ways. Couple of more defeats in a row. If the fans start protesting and pointing fingers at Sullivan, and the season ticket renewal threat of how many people won't renew. Those are the 3 things that only work with him. He doesn't seem to act. I mean, again, just in comparison, I want to talk about Spurs again. Daniel Levy, right? Got rid of Poch at the right time. The fans had a go at him. I thought he's mad. He was kind of proved to be right. Wasn't scared to spend money and get Mourinho in. Didn't work out. Wasn't scared again to bring in Conte, 2 of the most expensive managers in the world. Bought in the Forest manager, didn't he, Nuno? Quickly figured out, okay, I'm only human. I think I've made a mistake. Not afraid to sack him after 10 games and pay up the contract. And then went for Ange, who we could have looked at. He wasn't exactly managing in all far away somewhere. He was only down the British Isles in Scotland, right? And it's working out all right. It's all right. I mean, they lost today, but early days, I think he's done more than enough. First season, likely to be in the top 4. So very, very proactive chairman, good infrastructure, brilliant way of running the club. And then we've got our sleeping people here, you know? Absolute jokers, you know? I think the thing with Sullivan and David Moyes is they're very, very similar. They're very slow, very lethargic, don't change a lot of things, and just go along the train goes on the same track, and it's like people go mad, isn't it? It's like, I'm surprised his two sons don't say nothing to Sullivan, but that just tells me they're not really West Ham fans. If they were West Ham fans, come on, you couldn't be taking this anymore. I mean, David Gold was a West Ham fan, to be fair. Sullivan isn't, children aren't, and you can see that it's a business. And I think whenever West Ham United gets sold, they're going to be looking at a minimum 600% profit in all that time, really, and all their loans paid back with interest. Not bad, eh? Not bad for a day's work. Yeah, it depends what you mean by down to the home game. Do you mean like if we improve, if we survive, or home and away doesn't matter to me what we're doing at the moment. It's just the same setup. And the real worry now is even if he wanted to change something, he can't. He hasn't got the personnel. He hasn't got the bench. He can't even really change it game to game. What was it? Okay, he dropped Souček today. Souček will come back next game, but then Phillips is out, suspended. That's about it. And then even during the game, you look at the bench, there's nothing really there. And I can't believe this has been allowed to happen. I mean, Sullivan apparently is blaming Tim Steidten and David Moyes, saying they missed out on 11 striker targets or something like that. I'm like, what? Fucking hell. Seriously. Trini, how you doing? Cheers, mate. I think there's a bit of that, and it's a bit of out of form, and it's a bit of motivation, yeah, and a bit of boredom, isn't it? Managers, players like to be freshened up, set new targets, different plan game to game. They want to do all of that, isn't it? And not getting any of that, not getting a pat on the back. There's no challenge in any position, is there? If Bowen is out of form till the end of the season, there's no one else going to play and take his place, is there? Same with Kudus. Antonio, it's always been a problem with Antonio. He's got no challenge up there. He doesn't have to score a goal. He'll just run around, go left, go right. No meaningful impact on any game. In every position there should be two players. We ain't got any of that, have we? So that's all going to carry on, everyone. Library, yeah, library, mate. It's been bad, isn't it, Wayne? It's been bad, mate. It's been bad. I mean, Avram Grant, he was bad, but I think he still tried to play football the right way. Avram was bad. Avram Grant was known to go down the naughty clubs in Chelsea, weren't he? Late evenings and all that. But yeah, he played. I mean, most of them did. I mean, apart from Moisey, Sam Allardyce towards the end especially. I think all the managers have been okay. Alan Pardew is one of my favourites, probably my last favourite. Bilic, that first season, how can we ever forget that? He understood the club. Alan Pardew quickly understood the club, respected the club. I think that's the difference. Sam Allardyce and Mr. Moyes have come in with I think Sam Allardyce used to be called Hippo Head, didn't he? Big Head, Hippo Head. Some of the names were given classics. So I think David Moyes ain't far behind. He's a big head, big show off, stuck up, head in the cloud. Like he's won like 6 European Cups. I don't know why these people are like that. And he obviously has made it clear he thinks they're talking a load of garbage. He thinks he's more than big enough to manage the club. It's not the other way around. There's no way he'll ever say that. I'm so honoured and so lucky to manage West Ham. Look at the history. Imagine in the manager's office, you got John Lars photos behind and all that kind of thing. Hang on a minute, is that breaking news? Is that a load of crap? Someone just said someone's been sacked. I'm going to get all these false flip things, and let me just refresh something. I think it's a load of rubbish. Hang on. I'm just reading one story from Jacob Steinberg. If you give me a few seconds, everyone. Let me see what this is about. Okay, it's just... I thought it's some exciting news, but it looks like they're not going to sack him after today's game, apparently. But they can say that. It's round the corner. There's no way they can carry on with this. I don't think so. They can delay it as much as they want. It's got to happen this season. It's got to happen in the next couple of games. I can't see any way out of this. I don't have a season ticket, so I can't say I'm not going to go. But the thing is, I used to have 3 season tickets. I used to go once a month. I haven't been since the Bristol City game, so that's a good while back. Other people, like my son's got a ticket. Sometimes he gives it free to his family and friends, so they still start attending. So attendance ain't really going to do it. It could be something like early walkout. It could be very flat atmosphere, which it has been anyway, to be fair. But I think for the first time today, like you guys are saying in the chat, it's the players, isn't it? Because the players, and I could never understand it, why the dressing room hadn't gone earlier. Why is people like Bowen just listening to David Moyes' drab tactics of just keep running down the wing, mate? There's no one to pass to up front. Just keep running and then just see what happens and keep defending and running everywhere like Souček does. I mean, Souček is his mini bloody android puppet, isn't he? Don't even know he's human, Souček. He looks like he programs and he just runs and runs and runs. But when you look at the stats at the end of the game, Souček, did you intercept any balls? No. Did you make any tackles? No. Did you do anything else meaningful? No. Apart from one headed goal every 10 games. That's it. That's Souček, right? Absolute fucking joke, mate. Oh, mate. Kudos. Kudos is so good. He could play anywhere across those front three positions like he did at Ajax, but you need other people around you, John, to interact with and play off and create those mini triangles. And Antonio ain't going to do that. There's one bit in the game where we were going to counter attack, and Bowen was like running towards the area, and I was asking my son, I go, "Where's Antonio?" Antonio was nowhere to be seen. He was not even above the halfway line. He keeps doing this guy, and I'm like, and I hate picking like Antonio, picking on. He just should not be in the team. It's absolutely, oh mate. Yeah, it's just not working out for Odegaard. He doesn't seem to pick up players, read the game, and yeah, it's just not working out for me. And I always said as a defender, you don't have to be the biggest. You don't have to be the quickest. One of the best defenders, or a lot of the good defenders in the world have neither of those strengths. Look at Bobby Moore. I know you don't like him, but look at John Terry, Carragher. They never had any pace. Then they kind of could just read the game, and that's what it's about. And to be fair, when Zuma first came, those first 2 years, his defending was perfection. I used to sit there, watch him. The game would finish, and I would turn around and say to my fellow pals that I didn't see him put a foot wrong. Do you remember when Zuma first came? That first 2 years, immaculate, right? And he's finding it difficult. Anyone would alongside Odegaard and other people, but injuries and slow, yeah, he's not quite it. And again, yeah, the manager's got to decide what needs doing. If you don't understand your players, we can see that they're going down there. Why isn't he? He's not helping them. He's hanging them out there to dry. And then our channel show starts. Then it's jazz. Effing and blinding at Odegaard, effing and blinding at Antonio every fucking game. It's not nice for me. I don't enjoy it. It's not nice to be negative. Seriously, I don't enjoy it, right? He's another human being. I don't know who's watching from his family, whatever, but if Mum saw it, she'd run after me with a handbag and stuff. But Moyes, you've got to run your team and your players like a family, but he doesn't seem to understand anyone. I haven't seen you in a while, matey. How you doing? As for Moyes, number one signing, crap, 7 million down the drain. Johnny. Right, I've got so many. Oh, there we go. Ken Ammers, Kenny. I got 250 messages. Kent Irons. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, it's getting worse. It's getting worse, mate. It's getting worse, and it's a shame that it's going to end in a bad way, Kent, isn't it? He's not going to be remembered fondly, even though he delivered the European trophy for us, and we will always be happy about that memory and very, very thankful. We're not that bad, but it's going to, the ending's going to be Jazz swearing at him, you guys upset with him, and I didn't want it to end like that, and I blame Sullivan. He should have read the situation. A lot of that situation is about finding out, have we peaked, and that should be it, I think, and it is what it is, mate. But I have seen the main highlights, and it's not honesty. I don't think he wanted to do it. I think he wanted it to end early, Ken, and he just gave us just whatever answers he wanted, really. And some of them, obviously, when you're lying, you get caught out, especially when he felt up until Phillips got sent off that they were well in the game. And then he just remembered when he got sent off, it was kind of over by then, I thought, anyway. And then he felt a bit embarrassed, wasn't it, mate? I'll raise two, Ray. I'll raise two. Happy birthday. Don't worry about it. I've learnt to, when I was very, very young, it used to hit me big time. You know, I get really upset, especially, you know, when you used to be at school. And I'm from West London, so a lot of my friends were Chelsea, QPR, Brentford, especially Chelsea, and I didn't want to go in. And I didn't want to go in on the Monday and things like that. But luckily at work, there's not many football people at work, so I'm kind of okay. But so I've learnt to kind of, obviously upset straight after. But the passion's gone. Martin, I just remember the passion for me watching football has gone. I used to jump up and down on the sofa, but then because I'm expecting these performances for a good while now, when we concede a goal, there's no real me jumping up and down, swearing, upsetting, saying F this, which normally would have got, because I'm expecting it. So the soul in me has gone slowly. The passion has been driven out of me, and that's not me, and that's not West Ham football fans, you know. And we get a new manager in. I'll get life back into the old body again, and we from the kickoff, I'll be like this, that, you know, every ball breathing it. You know, that's how we normally watch football. So you guys in the chat are probably the same. Deep down, not really surprised, you know. So 1-0 down. There was no. There's nothing from me, no reaction. Wasn't even upset. Wasn't even when we score, I don't get that happy either. I just watch it thinking, let's see what happens, and then wait till the end. And usually, more often than not, recently, we end up not winning the game. But it's a shame, isn't it? I never thought, and this is the worst. Sam Allardyce wasn't this bad. We had Valencia, we had Sacco, we had Downing. We had Noble, we had a lot of good things in here. We had Ginger Collins, a lot of good things, all right? And this is all-time low. And, yep, outside people say, what's going on here? You've won a trophy, you know, and we were 6th when this year started, January 2024. What should have happened is, count our stars lucky that we were 6th, got a freaky run of December results that went out our way, and very thankful for that. But should have fixed it in the window, really. And I don't know. And the really bad thing is these guys got so much money, they'll never write a book where we'll find out what happened. Sullivan's never going to write a book. Noble doesn't need to. David Moyes doesn't need to. So I really want to know what's gone wrong. You know, I want to know who's bought our players. Is it Sullivan? Is it Moyes? What happened in the summer? Tim Stiton, Moyes is definitely a bit of trouble when you remember we took forever accepting the Rice offer. Then when we got the money in for another 2 weeks, we didn't do anything, and we were panicking. Do you remember? So if you look at the windows, since David Moyes has been in charge, a lot of our business has been done in the really at the end. Even though we managed to at the end bring in a lot of players, most of it's trickling in at the end due to the fans losing their plot online and threatening Sullivan and all that kind of thing. But that leads to a little bit of panic. Few signings won't work out then. And if you're planning something, you get your signings in early when the window opens. We don't do that because we don't have any plan. We kind of just wait and see who's available suddenly. And also we don't want to pay that little bit of premium to get the players in early, which the manager would appreciate. Get them in training early, like Arteta said. I want Rice in my team before we fly out. Do you remember? We don't do none of that. We bring most of our... And then it's a bit the league's fault as well. The Premier League should not start until the window closes. So I think they messed that one up this time, if I remember. So it's a bit of all those things you need to watch out for. Good planning prevents failure, isn't it? Was the saying, wasn't it, everyone? Oh, coming back to the game, Snazzy, they brought the banner out for the first time, didn't they? Saying Moyes out, or was the GSB out, something like that, mate? Yeah, I think this is the first time the banner was out, wasn't it? It's really hard, isn't it? It's really hard. You sometimes just got to go like that. I've got Spa weekend, got a Spa break booked next week with the missus. I need that, you know that. But I never get stressed in life about anything, but this has been pretty hard, isn't it? But I do manage to slip away tomorrow if I can, like mentally if I can, but it's difficult. And I'll stress again, if you've got a season ticket, especially away, you're home, I feel so sorry for you guys, so sorry. because you've seen nothing for your money. And again, I go back to, we are going to lose. Of course we are. We're West Ham. But when you go home, you see the application of the players. There's no positivity, hardly any shots to talk about, hardly any creative play to talk about in the whole 90 minutes. And actually all day gone, that, Mr. Moyes, is not sport. It's not football. It's not fair on the fans. And Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Moyes, you're treating the fans with no respect, as far as I'm concerned, because I'm hearing it's harder for children to get autographs even at the training ground now. The club is not a family club anymore like it used to be. Under John Lyle's time, even though I didn't used to go back then, I know that the players, John Lyle would always tell the players after the game, you guys go out and sign all the kids' photographs until every kid is happy. We have a duty to make the supporters happy, like I said on the Claret and Booze channel, that the West Ham DNA, every manager's duty is to entertain the fans on the Saturday with it hard-earned money, goals, attacking play. Winning, losing, drawing is not in our hands, but application and the way we play is. And that's West Ham, and I don't care about any other club. And I've kind of learnt to ignore other supporters' comments, especially today, like I told you about Liverpool fans saying, oh, you'll be down the bottom if David Moyes wasn't there. I'd rather just keep out of his business and he keeps out of our family business, because West Ham is a family. We know what our club's about, and that's the end of it. But I understand it is very infuriating when fans think they know better than us about what we're feeling. We don't enjoy saying what we're saying. It's not nice that you want someone sacked, they're going to lose their job and things like that. It's not fun. But we've just had enough. We've just had enough. And no one's listening. No one's listening either. Oh, Richard, mate, I don't know what's going to happen, mate. I mean, I suggested, Richard, that Noble, could we get Noble in and the caretaker, mate, to reunite the coaching team and get maybe another ex-player involved, mate? I was just thinking something like that till the end. So, because the board ain't that clever that they're going to make a aggressive move of getting a good manager like Brighton manager out in the middle of the season. I don't think that they're going to pay that much compensation to make it happen. So I think rather than panic and go in and make another mistake, I mean, would you guys accept Noble? I think Noble will do it. I've got a feeling the fans are behind him. He knows the club. The players will respect him. But I don't know if he's got the coaching badges or can he stand in the dugout. I mean, Brooking did, didn't he? Did Brooking have the badges back then, or was it not needed back then? Remind me, everyone. Because there used to be that rule that you could do it, but then there was like 6 months where you had to get the badge. So at the beginning you could do it. As long as within that time frame you get whatever you need. I'm going to go to the recent end. Hang on. Oh, I just saw something from E20 somewhere. Didn't I, Jamesy? Were you in there, matey? I saw something there, mate. God, I'm way behind, ain't I, mate? I'm half an hour behind the bloody messages. Jesus Christ. All right, let me start from the new ones then. Brian's joined in. Brian. Remind me where he is, mate. I told you I need to do that show, don't I? I need to look at all the managers and see what they're all about, don't I? I need to look at that. I need to look at all that. George has turned up. Georgie boy. Do you reckon, George? Let me have a quick look. I didn't think about that. I thought we were right. Let me have a quick look. I know in the form, everyone, in the form, which is the last 5 games, we are bottom. We are the worst team on form in the whole league. We've played 5. We've drawn 2, lost 3, haven't we? And Brian's saying relegation. So Everton are on 19, aren't they, Brian? And we're on 30. Well, not really. We'll have to lose the next 6, 7. Their wins. We're all right for now, Georgie boy. I think we're all right, mate. I get your drift, mate. I get your drift. We're looking down more than up. Definitely get that, mate. So what Brian's going to do for me, Agent Brian's going to look after the relegation end for me, Brian. Every week I want you to keep an eye on that. And Brian might be one of those when you're 3-0 up, you still get nervous, isn't it, Brian? Like, oh, I need another goal, mate. No, I think we're all right. We never know. Listen, after what happened to us at the Canio team, Brian, I will always respect what you said and never say never, especially when you're West Ham. So I think we're all right. But yeah, let's keep an eye on it. Tommy boy. We're watching nothing, are we, Tommy? Nothing, lad. I love it. Just say it the way it is, mate. All right, mate. All right. Oh, God. Very, oh, what a man of respect. Alvin Martin was the one who chinned Paul Ince, everyone. That was a story, wasn't it? I don't know if you know about it, but Ince was well, we all know he was a yeah, he used to be a little gobby little kid, didn't he, Ince? And then I think he obviously stepped too far like he always did, and then Alvin Martin chinned him one, and then he was all right after that. I don't know if you know that story. Yeah. Hello, hello. Samo's in there. Yeah, I always felt that David Sullivan and Sam Allardyce, when they came into the club, were the right managers to come in. Like I said, because we were struggling or trying to go up, so they're the good managers to rebuild the defense, solid foundation, hard to beat, and that kind of gets you to where you need to be. But then after that, you need to move on and play a better brand of football, which is West Ham. You know, again with respect. Other clubs are probably happy with this. I don't mind. It's your club. This is my club. I don't kind of. I watch Crystal Palace. Like when I watch Crystal Palace, that's a hard watch, but it's not my business. It's your club, your ground. You kind of do what you want with it. This is West Ham's our manner. We'll say what we want and how we feel. Yeah, he's got to mix it up a bit. I think still, Vinny, I think he's a very childish, very immature, very stuck-up person, Mr. Moyes. He done all the right things. He's done all the hard work. All he had to do was bend a bit, buy one or two strikers, left winger, get some backup for the defence, play a better brand of football, even 10% better than what he's doing, and he would have had that job. And 2-3 years, he would have moved upstairs, had even a bigger name in the history of West Ham. He's thrown it all away. And I can't say more than that, mate. I mean, if he was watching my channel, I'd try to advise him, saying, Moisey boy, you got to listen to the fans. And if you look at the history of the club, you don't mess about with the West Ham fans, mate. But there you go, mate. Oh, matey. Timmy. You need to get on the show, Tim, yeah? You need to get on the show in the future. I'm going to send you the link, mate, you naughty boy. Tim runs the West Ham Hammers. I even forgot the name of the channel. How long has it been? American Hammers. Tim made a promise that he will not go back to the American Hammers channel, YouTube channel, until David Moyes is gone. And he's been waiting a while. Tim's been waiting a while. And... yeah, crazy. But Tim, you were right, mate. We're pulling our hair out, mate. It's crazy. I'm drinking more and more, mate, and all that. But yeah. Do you want to come on? Shall I send you the link, Tim? Let me know, matey, and I'll try to make it happen, naughty boy. Lawrence is in the house from the US. Yeah. I used to love it there, mate. Oh, no problem. So Tim is the one who he signed me up as a kid, didn't you, Tim? Tim saw my potential in the youth squad. He promoted me into the American Hammers, and then he sold me on, didn't you, mate, for a profit? But yeah, Tim, we'll get you on next time, mate. Matt, do you think if we play the under-13s, we'll have 4 CDMs and 4 fullbacks in the team, mate? Let me know. Oh, it's laughable, isn't it? Evening Lee. Lee's another legend. Keith, I think he's very stuck up. Thinks he knows best. And that's a hint why all the coaches don't stay more than, 1 or 2 years. Look at the high turnover of coaches with Moyes. You can tell he doesn't listen to anyone. And then the coaches are saying, well... okay, we got a job to do, but we like to have a say in what's going on. Because I think he did that when he first came in. Because that's when we were brilliant, when Stuart Pearce was here, Alan Irvine was here. Do you remember all that? Best time we had. And when those guys went, we saw an immediate drop in approach. The way we played, tactics, in-game management, substitutions. It all went pear-shaped. And ever since people like Pearcey left, Alan Irvine especially left, the quality of the coaches like Warburton Bread, he came last year, and he's like, I've had enough. He goes, I can't say too much, obviously, because you're in the game, you can't. But he more or less said a bit more than he should have, and said kind of, yeah, you don't ever look in when he's there, so you feel like pointless. He's just pointless. What are you saying to him? He's not listening, is he? Yeah, thank you. That's nice. That's nice. I could always stick a turban on because I'm a Sikh, you know. I've got that. If I start losing, I've got that second option, you know. You never know, mate. It's a bloody mission tying one. I don't even know how to do it. Yeah, good channel. Richard's in the house. Yeah, I know, mate. Absolutely. Right, let me go back to the beginning again. And we've got Tommy. No, I think the end is near. There's no way he'll carry on till the end of the season. I will be shocked. So this ain't going to be like last season where they think, oh yeah, he's going to win the Europa and all that. Not with this squad. He can't even make any changes, right? And no matter how bad Benrahma and Fornells and Kehrer and, you know, Connor Coventry went, didn't he, and all that kind of thing, they would have obviously given him something. He looks at the bench. It was that bad. I was shocked when Cornet came on 72 minutes. I think Cornet was falling asleep. I think they had to wake Cornet up. He was asleep with a sleeping bag, and they're like, "You're coming on." Cornet's like, he never brings Cornet on, and there's no one else there. Even Mabuma, you can see him. He's just laughing on the touchline. He's like, "All right, I'll turn up. I mean, yeah, I'll sit in the back. I'll run up and down, warm up a bit, and that's it." It's a very poor end. Very poor end. Yeah. I know friendlies don't often, yeah. I remember Avram Grant, that's the best time we were superb in friendlies on Avram Grant. And in this, we beat Spurs in Australia, didn't we? God, even though we got outplayed by Postecoglou football. Brighton play fabulous football. Spurs play fabulous football. Arsenal, well, we know what they do. I'd rather not say. I can't stand them at the moment. Liverpool, we already know. Man City, we know. Don't know what Chelsea are trying to do. Newcastle's a bit of mish and mash, quite physical, their game. Bournemouth, very impressed with the Bournemouth, the way they played. They came to our gaff, didn't they? Played us off the park, didn't they? Embarrassing when we scored. Actually, forget winning anything. We can't score from open play, can we? Even that was a penalty, wasn't it, the Bournemouth game? So, not many goals from open play, everyone. Chrissy, what it is, certain managers are made for certain clubs, the DNA. And I love Mourinho, but I think he's kind of peaked. And he's still trying to recreate that Chelsea team with Drogba up front and that midfield of Essien and Lampard and Terry at the back and Carvalho and the goalkeeper. And it just ain't going to happen, mate. But he'd definitely be better than Mourinho. I get you that. I mean, Moyes, but the football ain't going to be that great, as Spurs found out. That's the only thing, Chris. But personally, got a lot of time for him. Very likeable chap, great personality. Certainly when he walks into a room, people look at him, stand up, listen. David Moyes walks into a room, I'll fucking walk out. But anyway, yeah, I get what you mean with respect. Very, very big name. Very, very big name. So for me, when you're picking a new manager now, you've got to look at the DNA, how they're going to play. That's to me is equally or more important than what they've won or their stature. It's very important. Their philosophy of playing is very, very important to me. And let me know in the chat what you think about the Brighton lad. I mean, he's pretty brave. Although with respect, Brighton managers don't buy the players. The database system does, isn't it? Because I think Brighton are owned by that systems guy, software guy. They buy the players, so they're the coaches. You know, like a bit like the Watford model, which I think Sullivan would love that, wouldn't he? Like Sullivan's going to buy all the players. He'll be going like that. He'll be loving it. Yeah, Tony. I miss Tony as a pundit on the mainstream channels, Pam, especially Sky. Because Sky, I mean, Alan Smith being a commentator for every Arsenal West Ham game is very, very annoying. Tony Cotty's a good commentator. Tony Gale is one of the best. I think he's more often than not on some of the Middle Eastern channels, Pam. Ben Sports, is it? One of those. I had a chat with Tony a couple of times when I was in hospitality. Very nice chap. Very, very clever. Very, very funny. Great presenter. Well-spoken. Top boy. Oh, hello. How you doing, naughty boy? I remember we see you at the when we used to do the West Ham fan TV thing, didn't we? Do you remember? I ain't done one in ages, mate. I don't even go that often, but yeah, I hope you're doing good. I actually got to watch your channel, mate. So I will. Let's do some things together. Yeah, I'll kind of make a note of that, and we'll do some few things together, mate. You were good as well, mate. We're all from the same boat, aren't we, mate? We're all frustrated, we're all pissed off, aren't we? Drinking more and more and all that. But yeah, we all very frustrated, all on the same wavelength, and we've all just had enough. And like I said, mate, it's our club, our problem, our DNA, our history. We know how we feel. We don't need Sports of Liverpool telling us that be happy with what you've got. I think next time someone says that, they're going to get a brick at their head, aren't they? Because it's sensitive. We are sensitive. Leave us alone. Fucking hell, mate. Sort your own fucking... You need a new manager in the summer, don't you? Sort that out. Flipping hell. I'll tell you what, as though the day wasn't going to get any worse, in the fantasy football, I made Haaland triple captain. So if anyone's seen that Chelsea-Man City game, especially the last chance, he's missed a hat-trick of chances. So that's kind of, just remember that now. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Haaland. Thank you very much. And I've sold Kudos. I've sold Bowen out of my team as well. I'm that annoyed at the moment. Oh, I can't stand him, Brian. I cannot stand that guy, seriously. I mean, for those of you who don't know, he had a very good career at Arsenal. Before that, at Leicester City, he formed a partnership with Gary Lineker, who, again, we're not very fond of. So I don't know if Gary Lineker's been, teaching him how to deal with us, with Gary playing for Spurs, a naughty boy. Samo! What players that were at the club before, Moyes? I think Arnie, didn't he? So he moved Arnie up front. I think he got better out of Arnie. I think Lanzini was all right until he got that serious injury. He came along all right, didn't he? Fucking hell, who else was there? Antonio? You think Antonio's... Yeah, Antonio's been all right. You just got to mix it up a bit. And I think always the downfall of managers are delaying the best clubs, the best managers that I've seen, which has been Man City and the Liverpool team from the 80s, and even George Graham, Arsenal, and Alex Ferguson, of course. How could I forget that model? Is regularly changing it a little bit, like changing 30% of your team. So if there's 11 players, at least change 2 of them, or 2 are threatening to go into the 11 every season. The worst thing you can do is that you've had a good season and you just relax and you don't change anything, which happened with John Lyle in '86. We finished 3rd. We didn't buy anyone for 2 years, and then everyone got injured. We lost both of our good players, Cotti, McAvenny, Goddard, and we never picked up again. And it took a season to buy a striker. I remember Alan Dickens played up front. So we've been down there where if you're not proactive, and frustratingly, a lot of the fans were saying that again. After winning a European trophy and having a reasonably look like a good window, we just needed to keep adding and going, and we kind of come down again. And this winter window is gonna cost us. There's only 2 windows, like I keep saying, and you got to respect them. And David Moyes doesn't. He doesn't respect the winter window. He doesn't respect the summer window. He says, we can't do any business in the winter. Oh, it's always hard to do it in the summer. Then when are you going to do it, mate? Planning, mate, planning. Ba-ba-da-da-da-da. I've got to apologise for a lot of you whose comments I'm missing, but I've currently got like 300 comments to read, and it's going to be hard for me. Hello, matey. Mate, there's only so much we can do, and we're doing it. We're doing it through the channels, through the media outlets we can, and I do believe there's a digital team at West Ham that do go through some of it and relay that back to Sullivan, especially what's happening at the moment. It might not be done permanently all the way back to him, but at the moment, through Sean Whetstone, who I know I've met, he's a nice chap. He's the Claret and Hugh website, half of that. With Hugh I don't know, Sean I know. So I think Sean did that survey on behalf of Sullivan and the club, put the feelers out there, and I can't remember exactly the result of the survey. Was it 55, 57% Moyes out, something like that, was it? That got relayed back to Sullivan, and I think now, especially what's happening now, it's kind of more and more concerning to the board. And every game, I think they're watching the channels, looking at what we're saying as fans and reeling that back to Sullivan, and we'll see what happens. Ravel Morrison, God, what a guy, eh? What a guy. What did they do then? Did they Johnson? So they got subbed, did they? I didn't follow. I might have been out of the room. Yeah, let me know what they did. Chrissy boy. I don't even know what Millwall are up to, mate. I'm so occupied with our mess. I don't know what's going on down the road, mate. Alf Garnett, well, Alf Garnett used to love your shows in the 70s, mate. And those of you might not know, Alf Garnett was a kind of a serial in the 70s where he was kind of a West Ham fan with his wife in the wheelchair. Never went anywhere without the West Ham scarf. But in reality, he was a Spurs fan. So Google it on YouTube, Alf Garnett. There's a footage from the 1985 FA Cup fifth round clash or quarter-final clash with Man United. It finished Man United 4, West Ham 2, but some great footage there. Hilarious bit there. I mean, I don't want to spoil it too much for you, but yeah, it is really, really funny what goes on in there. Let's go back to Gavin's here. Gavin, how you doing, matey? They inquired about Solanke. I've confirmed that with ex-employee. They did confirm they were discussing 35 million, but Bournemouth politely didn't even want to go into negotiation. So you can't go above that, Gavin. They politely said we don't even no room for any discussions. So that kind of ended. I absolutely love him. It's taken him a long time to get where he is now. If you remember, he was a big signing. Eddie Howe bought him to Bournemouth from Liverpool. And I thought he's a complete waste. For years, he was doing nothing. Then they got relegated. He began to bang in 20 goals in the Championship a couple of times. And now he looks the ready-made deal. Now the bloody Gits are going to sell him in the summer at 55, 60 million or 50 million. I don't know. Don't forget Gavin. I think Broja, I mean, he was worth a crack, wasn't he, till the end of the season? He went to Fulham. You got that Diaz at Sheffield United, even though he's injured. Plenty of options. And then you've seen all the players, wasn't it? Zaha was offered. I mean, I'd take Zaha tomorrow on that left wing. He carried Crystal Palace for years, that man. A very, very good player. But, yeah, I suppose Zaha's a bit too big in the dressing room for David Moyes, perhaps, mate. Oh, again, not surprised. See, this is the modern game, isn't it? Modern game of laughing in the tunnel, and that's why I back what Roy Keane says: laughing, cuddling in the tunnel. What the fucking's all that about, mate? Absolutely piss poor. And someone put a photo of Souček. They met Souček a day or 2 days after the Arsenal game, and he's in great spirits, laughing away. And I'm like, God, he forgot that quickly, didn't he? And I got pelters for it, but it's a big thing losing 6-0 to Arsenal, and I wouldn't want to be seen, but that's a modern game, modern game. Yeah, it's just. I think everything in life comes to an end and peaks. And when Moyes came in, I bet he did have the dressing room together, and it was discipline, and people listened, and Noble was in there, and all of that, la 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 la. But it's finished now. It just happens naturally. Sometimes there's not reason for it. It happened to Poch. Sometimes things just stop happening. And it's time to move on. And he's overstayed since the summer. I mean, the European trophy rescued him because the league was pretty poor back then as well. So it's a natural thing, isn't it? And you're absolutely right. I think Moyes has lost it now. He's lost the finger on the pulse, and sometimes there's not any reason for it apart from these days. I mean, years ago, yeah. I mean, managers used to stay 5-10 years. They controlled the club a lot, had all the power. Players had none of the power. If clubs got relegated back in the day, your team stayed with you. We got relegated in 78 with John Lyle. Trevor Brooking stayed, and he was an England full England regular player. Right, those things are a bit like that. A club would bid for your player, you wouldn't even know about it. After the 1980 FA Cup final, Bobby Robson, manager of Ipswich, apparently Trevor Francis was a £1 million record, wasn't it, when he went to Nottingham Forest from Birmingham in 1980, around that time. But apparently, after the 1980 FA Cup final, they reckon that Ipswich, who won the UEFA Cup in 82, runners-up in the league in 81, they bid about £1.5 million for Alan Devonshire. And Alan Devonshire didn't know about it. And John Lars said, no, we ain't sending him. And when Alan Devonshire got that 1.5, 2 year injury in '84, where he's never the same again, his one leg is smaller than the other since that time in '84 injury. Alan Devonshire was the difference between West Ham finishing top 4, top 5, top 6 and nearly getting relegated. You know, it's just amazing, isn't it? I'll come up with all these stories for you, mate. Peter, welcome, sir. Brentford are actually more of a bogey team than Brighton, I reckon. You know, Brighton, you might get a draw. Brentford, you're not getting nothing. And have a look at the last 6 games. They've done us at least 5 times. So forget that. Luca Toni's going to be like that, matey. Mope's going to be like that, matey. They're going to bully the crap out of our back 4, mate. We're going to be hiding, matey. Oh, I know Robert Banks. He's been on the channel a couple of times. I've got his books out, so I feel so bad. I always tell Robert, I've got both your books. I haven't read any of them. They're in my West Ham library here, but I need to watch it. And I just never get around to it, don't I, Alf? But I'd need to watch it. Julian Dix was probably my favourite player. So when I started to go Upton Park around 1989, that's the Lou Macari season, I could not believe how a left back was obviously captain, penalty taker, corner taker, free kick taker. He would pass it 25, 30, 40 yards, no problem, straight into feet. I've never seen a left back dominate the whole ground like that. I'm like, wow. And England never even want to look at him. England didn't want to look at him, and they wanted him to grow his hair long, Glenn Holder that time and all that kind of thing. And yeah, one of the best uncapped. Actually, I don't think he got full cap, Julian Dix, did he? Is it a bit like Billy Bonds? Did Billy Bonds get a full cap or not? Maybe Billy Bonds and Julian Dix never got full England cap. I'll have to check up. I think Billy Bonds didn't. Parks has got one, hasn't he, Phil Parks? Yeah. Great player, Dixie. Met him. Got a lovely photo with 2 of the kids with Dix 10, 15 years ago. And then seen him again the second time. Yeah, good times. I don't know where those balloons come from. What happened there? I don't know what happened there. Whose birthday? I know there's a couple of people whose birthdays are there, but I don't know what happened there. They're again being stubborn, John. If anyone says they're still backing Moyes, they're just being stubborn and they want to fight with the fans. That's fine, you know. Again, while I'm on that subject, I do remind everyone on Twitter Graveyard and other things, just be respectful of all West Ham fans, and if it gets a little bit, you know, they don't agree with you, then just stop interacting, move on to the next person. Really, I don't want to go down that route. You're never going to win a battle. If someone else has got another opinion, it's all going to end up getting personal, and then you're going to get angry, they're going to get angry, and then someone's going to get banned on Twitter and all that kind of thing, matey. Yeah. It was John Gorman, wasn't it? John Gorman, Glenn Hoddle's Swindon coach at England, telling him, grow your hair, mate. Yeah, one of my favourite matches at Upton Park, even though I wasn't at Upton Park, was that West Ham 3, West Ham 4, Tottenham 3, Julian Dix penalty, and there's a very windy Monday night, and we had to win. And that's an example of, listen, we have a go at Harry Redknapp for a lot of things, but I remember when he bought John Hartson and Paul Kitson, 2 strikers, that changed our season. We stayed up. Bought Steve Lomas, Rio Ferdinand came into the team, and Dixie, what a free kick that was. That's a weird game that was. Never seen the wind have that much effect on the ball. One of the goals Kitson scores from the corner, I think Michael Hughes takes the corner, and the ball does all kinds of things in the air. And the goalkeeper's about to catch it, and it goes away from his hands into its madness. Sorry, just busy dying here. I think Phil Parks went into him in training, didn't he, Peter? I think. Exactly. Anyway, I think I'm going to close it off because Frankie was meant to be with me today. He's got stuck in traffic. So we'll see. Let's watch the developments next tomorrow. See if there's any news filtering in. I'm not really interested or taking notice of the potential names of the next West Ham manager at the moment. I think no one really knows. Just plucking names from everywhere. I do like to look at analysis and managers, and I haven't done that yet. Yeah, I don't know. I might have a look next couple of days. Next fixtures. Should we have a look at the fixtures? Let's have a look. I'm just going to have a look at the next 3 fixtures. This was, again, some people thought it was kind of a winnable game. I don't think there's any winnable games in the Premier League, especially West Ham. So everyone, home to Brentford, away to Everton, home to Burnley, home to Villa. So a lot of home games, isn't it? Home to Brentford, Burnley, Villa, and then away to Everton. But look okay. Didn't get the odd point here and there, but not with this team anyway. Mr. Bean is 3-1, everyone. Get your money on there. Get your money on there. Yeah, I covered him last year, mate, on the show. Yeah, I like Sporting Lisbon. He hasn't had many, has he? Hasn't had many, mate. Oh, Paolo Di Canio's in the show. How you doing, son? There's always Sam Allardyce might come back. You never know. It was always interesting. Remember when Martin O'Neill was nearly going to come? Do you remember that time? Avram Grant season, December, and Sullivan. You might not know this, right? It was all agreed with Martin O'Neill to come in December, very early January, when it was apparent Avram Grant had lost the grasp of the dressing room and everything, didn't know what he was doing. So there's a gentleman's agreement, and then something happened where David Sullivan went to the press, didn't he, and said Martin O'Neill will be offered a job at the end of the game, but Martin O'Neill said you sack him first and then you talk about me, and it happened the other way around, and then Martin O'Neill said I'm not going to work for someone who does that kind of thing. that was the story, and I wanted Martin in back then, so you might remember that. Yeah, he's building up, and he's stock. The old Millwall West Ham lad, Gary O'Neill. Yeah, I'm hearing some good things about him. I never agreed with the Scott Parker recommendation. I didn't agree with that. I like to have seen a bit more. And he did struggle with whatever he had on his plate, to be fair. Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Who would I like? I like the Brighton manager, don't I? I like the Brighton manager. Zerbi. I like him. It's cool. It's good. And you guys, it could be a German manager, everyone, because of Tim and his brother. It could be, it could be someone from there. So keep an eye on that. Yeah, Big Sam. At least he had a bit more than that about him. Then he had a couple of strikers up front. Absolutely terrible, mate. But So we're gonna close off the show. It's been absolutely remarkable. I've not been able to bloody keep up with the chat. There's been hundreds and hundreds of you in there, and that I can understand your frustrations. We all want to share everything with everyone. Our pain, shared pain is a less pain, or something like that, isn't it? So yeah, I'm gonna obviously thank you for kind of watching. And another game has gone, another defeat has happened. Not surprising for me, and I will stick to my guns. And I think it's just inevitable now. It's got to happen. If not now, if not today, if not tomorrow, it's got to be by the end of the next game or the game after that. He cannot stay here till the end of the season playing like. Otherwise, it's going to kick off at the ground. The fans are going to run onto the pitch, and it's gonna get ugly. I'm telling you right now, this cannot carry on. And the really bad news is that he can't change it, even if he wanted to. He can't change it. He cannot change the way he's playing. He's got no options on the bench. He's got the same personnel as Antonio, the 2 years out of form Antonio, and he didn't look happy. He didn't look interested. He didn't do anything on the pitch. And the worry is that every game, Kudus is going to get less and less interested. The Bowens not going to pick his form up. Something ain't right at the club. It's not a happy club. It's not a happy dressing room. It's not happy on the pitch. It's kind of disorganised off the pitch, and that just leads one way. And the fingers have started to point at Sullivan. He doesn't want that. He doesn't need that, and he will have to get rid of Moyes and change it. Who will come in? I ain't got a clue. But Brian, thank you for that, matey. Take care, and we'll connect in the next couple of days. God bless you. Take care.